put this in this, this is wood ash right here. I'm going to put the knife in there and let it cool down very slowly. That'll make it easier to drill and to grind on. So, alright. Catch you in a bit. Alright, I'm going to grind the profile now. Got it forged pretty close. You do a little grinding here on the tip, and then just a little bit around the handle to shape it. And right here where my finger notch will be. Alright, let's get over the grinder and get it roughed in. Alright, so the profile is ground in. So the next thing I'm going to do is decide where to put my pinholes. And then I'll get the pinholes drilled, and I'm just going to go straight to the quench. It's nice, pretty thin as it is. I'm not going to rough the bevels in or anything. I'll do that after the quench. And so let's go ahead and find out where we want the pinholes at. So here's the handle material I'm using for this. This is a piece of bloodwood. And so we're going to be using that. So I'm just going to lay it on here. Kind of see how everything fits, and what I'm thinking is I'm going to want these scales to come up right in there like that. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back about a ½ an inch, and that's where I'm going to put my pinhole at, about right there. And then I'm going to come in from the back end of the knife also about a ½ inch, and we're going to put our pinhole about right there. So there's more precise ways of doing it. This is the way I pretty much do every one of them. A lot of times you don't see it on the video, but that pretty much sums it up. So let's get over and get these punched and get them drilled so we can get this knife heat treated. Alright, I have a number 30 drill bit chucked up in my milling machine right here. And I get these from Pop's Knife Supply, and they drill a perfect 1/8 of an inch hole. That's what I use for all the knife pin stock I use on my knives. So they're also extremely cheap there, a lot cheaper than going to the hardware store and buying them. So definitely check that out. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this drilled. Alright, now I'm going to come back in with this bigger bit. This is a 1/4 inch bit, and I'm just going to knock the edges down. I'm going to chamfer the edges of these holes just to clean them up. Alright, if you notice there, I went back in and drilled these holes in the tang. A lot of people will drill these all the way through. That's perfectly fine. This helps lighten it a little bit. It also allows the epoxy to have somewhere to rest. If you go all the way through, it allows the epoxy to flow from one side to the other, which works really well. I've just started doing this recently just to give it a little bit, to make it a little bit lighter, and like I said, give it somewhere to set. So this knife's ready for heat treat now. So let's get it tossed in the forge and run it through some thermal cycles and get it heat treated. Alright, so here's where we are. This is right out of the temper. I temper this at 2 2-hour cycles at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I everything turned out well. So I'm going to go over and get all this oil cleaned off of it, and then get the bevels ground in, and then we'll get to work on that handle. All right, let's get after it. Alright, I've got our blade ground, and I got it up to a purple Scotch-Brite. I'll take it on up to a gray fine Scotch-Brite before we're finished up. But now I'm going to turn my attention to the handle material. We're going to be using some bloodwood scales for this. I've had this wood laying around the shop forever. I believe this piece of wood's actually been to Alaska and back with me when I moved up there for a while. But that's what we're going to be using. So let's get it over to the drill press, get the holes drilled for the handle pins, and then start shaping the handle. Alright, I'm getting ready for glue up. I get asked a lot about the epoxy I use. I use this 15-minute mid-cure from Pop's Knife Supply. They also have the standard 5-minute stuff, and then they have some 30-minute stuff as well. The 5-minute stuff is fine. I like this because I do a lot of hidden tang knives, and it gives me a little bit of extra work time before it starts setting up to get everything cleaned up and straight. So with that being said, let's get the epoxy mixed up and get this knife glued up. Alright, so we're all glued up now. In about an hour, 2 hours, I can go ahead and pull these clamps off and can start doing some work on it if I want to. I normally let it sit overnight. For those of you wondering, I did clean all the surfaces, including the wood and the pin stock, with acetone before gluing this up. I also came back in up here at the front where the handle scales transition into the blade, cleaned that real good with acetone as well to get the epoxy out of that. So now it's just a waiting game. I'll see you in a bit. Alright, our epoxy set up last night. So there we go. So I'm going to go over to the grinder, hit these flats on either side, knock these pins down. I used G10 pin stock, by the way. Get these sides ground, and then we'll grind the profile, shape the handle, and then we'll see how she turned out. Alright, let's get to work. Alright, there's how it turned out. Ought to make somebody a pretty good little hunter. That being said, I appreciate you watching. Hit that sub button if you would. Ring the notification bell to notify me of content as it posts. And I will see you soon. You all have a good one. Bye-bye.